Um, I think it is only the four of us. Should we start? All right, so there are some announcements. Amy is out today, Alessio is back tomorrow. Hiring update, we have an approval to hire SREs. There is another about bringing back staging Canary to reduce incidents. That's going to be interesting. And on the first discussion regarding something that also discussed on the last weekly session about setting a recurring rollback practice, I wonder what everyone thinks about automating the rollback to staging. Of course, if the health checks are okay and if we don't have any other active deployed to staging, and only I'm thinking like in the first iteration to do it on a specific coordinated pipelines, mostly the ones that are created in APAC time, because those are the ones that don't have a lot of traffic.
I think yesterday we had a good example of that we need a way to easily disable the automatic rollback, because we had several issues where we needed to push something forward to production as fast as we can last week, and then we needed to drop again the production rollback, and even the staging rollback we couldn't do because of that as a replacement. So I think it's good to have automation, but we need something which is making it very easy to stop it. Also during our releases, maybe. No, that's not that important. But yeah.
I do think this is a good idea overall. I do agree with what Henry just stated. If we don't have, I don't see that concern on the issue, so I think it'd be good to bring up if it hasn't been already. But I do wonder if we're going to be bringing Canary back into staging. I'm worried about how much longer this is going to add, because we're already adding a lot of time to the process with rollbacks, and staging is just only going to increase that. And the items that Amy mentioned above about potentially reducing that time, like, yes, they will, but I feel like we're going to add so much more time. This is going to be, I'm worried this is going to be horrendous.
How is the staging Canary? How is it going to work? Is it going to mimic the same thing we have in Canary and production? Like, is it going to double the time to deploy to staging now?
I think it's going to work in a similar fashion with some tweaks. So instead of waiting the full hour, we might wait enough to run QA. And then once QA at least passes, we'll proceed with the production or the deploy to the main stage of staging immediately afterwards. So we won't have the full baking time like we do today, but we're still going to have two very distinct stages of deployment.
I see.
And we kind of need that for QA to run and to show us the problems that come out of code that's not compatible with rolling forward or backward.
Yeah, I guess it is going to add a bunch of time to staging, and well, the rollbacks probably will do as well, but we can start in a limited way, only on specific coordinated pipelines, and we can have a way to disable it if something goes wrong or if we want to speed things up.
I think something we should consider is if we do the rollback, do we want to do the rollback in tandem with Canary, or do we want to roll back only Canary or something? And even then, it might be a situation where a problem, if this is possible, we find a problem after we've deployed to the main stage, we would obviously need to roll back all of staging, not just the main stage. So I feel like we're introducing a lot of variables at the same time. I kind of want us to, I'm weary about us working on both of these issues at the exact same time.
Yeah, it is going to be fun. So what is the estimated time for staging and Canary? Is something that is going to happen like on this quarter, like next week, next month, tomorrow?
I don't know. The epic has a due date of the 26th of August.
Oh, okay, so is that something we can achieve? I mean, I'm completely lost about in the details. 26th of
Yeah,
August.
this is a conversation that just started last week. So I think like
Okay.
there's no issues associated with this epic. So I feel like it's still in the planning phase.
Okay.
So I'm not sure.
Yeah, I guess it is something that we have to think about, and probably something that rollbacks should consider if we decide to automatically roll back, and also when we decide to integrate Canary into staging, to consider rollbacks as well. So probably ongoing communication. Okay, well, thank you. Well, Skarbek, you have the next point.
Thank you. I am going to be attempting to migrate the Canary web fleet into Kubernetes today. So Henry, thank you for locking Canary. However, I'm still waiting for approval to begin the change request because it's quite intrusive. I think if I do get approved to move forward, I'm going to ask you to hold off on the production deploy. That way we just don't have two competing things happening at the exact same time, because I'm touching HA proxy and stopping Shep on those nodes, and I don't want to interfere with the production deploy at the same time. If I don't get approval in the next few minutes, I think I'll just say, let's continue forward, and then we could touch base later. That way I'm not blocking the deploys, but.
Skarbek, this is touching my point D. I think that Robert will be out today because he's not feeling well, and he would be the release manager for Americas. Normally, I would now hand over to him, but so I'm wondering who will cover release management for Americas today. I mean, we did some production deploys today, so we are fine, I think. And we can just leave it at that. But
I could watch release management for the day.
Yeah, I mean, because that would give at least the trigger in your hand when you want to do the next deployment. And so there's no coordination needed for your change. And I think there's not much more to do for release management today anyway. And I hope there are no problems.
It's just auto deploys. We're not doing any sort of security or patch releasing at the moment.
No, we don't do anything of that today.
I've got bandwidth today, so I'll keep an eye on release management duties today for Robert.
Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing to do besides pressing the button if nothing goes wrong.
Cool.
And I'm also still around for a little bit. Yeah.
That's all I had. So Henry, if you want to go with point C.
Yeah, this is tricky. I deployed to pre today because a change for the package team was still missing that we need. And we anyway deployed to pre 2 weeks ago, so it didn't matter if we do this again, I think. But since then, I see strange behavior. We maxed out our database connections, and they are maxed out all the time right now. I can see this in the Cloud Console. And after looking for a while, I opened an incident for that. I asked development and database for help, but nobody showed up in the last 2 hours for that. And I'm failing to diagnose what is causing those connections. It looks like it took a while for me to get connection to the database, but it looks instead of the database that we see a lot of idle connections coming from Sidekick there. But I can't find anything matching in the Sidekick logs so far. So I'm a little bit, I don't know, out of ideas here. And pre is very flaky because we constantly are close at maxing out our database connections, which made also the QA tests fail. And I don't know how to best escalate this because it's not worthy dev escalation because they will not support pre as far as I understand. And yeah, if anybody of you has ideas, else I will just hand this over to the SRE on call and ask them to help find somebody to look into that. I mean, we are not blocked right now by anything with that, but it's still not nice to have it.
Is pre the environment that we update when we create a new RC?
Yes, exactly. So we need to have it working in a few days.
Yeah, so I guess we probably, I mean, with that, we can probably escalate to dev escalation because release is going to be blocked if that continues to be read, I guess.
We can still deploy to it, just the QA tests will fail. So I think our normal process would still work, but
yeah, I guess another thing we could do is to ask on the database. I know that you ask on the database channel, but we have another channel for database that is G_database for the database team.
I always mix them up. Yeah.
Yeah, and also we have the sharding channel. The sharding team has been moving the load balancer and integrating a lot of stuff. So probably something is broken. Might be worth to check out with them too.
I think it's the same release running there that we have now in production. So I think it's not really a code issue. It's probably something which just, I don't know, maybe a hanging Sidekick job which is retried all the time or something. I don't know. I can't really read this message. I just get an application name in the database logs, but I can't find anything in our Elastic logs matching that. So it's really strange. I will just ask in GDatabase again and see if there's somebody to look into that. But also, I think that will maybe not have access to this database instance because it's not Patroni, right? And I don't think they will be able to connect to it. So, yeah. But yeah, thanks for your ideas. I will just try for a while and see. Yeah, with that being said, I think for point D, we already agreed we don't do more deployments for now. And if you want to, then Skarbek is doing it as he needs. And then I think we are through the discussions. I'm not sure if I can stop the recording.